Mr. Minister, namaste. It's so good to see you, and welcome to Harvard. Welcome to the Kennedy School. Welcome to the Institute of Politics here at the historic JFK Forum. Michael, I'm really honored that we get to share the stage together, so thank you for this conversation. So what Michael and I thought we would do, with your permission, is we want to really focus on the two issues that you have raised on climate justice and transitional justice. And for those of you, it's an exciting time that we're having this conversation here about Nepal. Nepal really is at a crossroads, almost 20 years after the end of the Civil War and with the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. And we really want to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, to share your vision for how the country will get there. So first, maybe I'll start with climate change, and then Michael will focus on transitional justice. To start with climate change in particular, you were just in New York yesterday. Thank you for coming from New York to Boston. Over 100,000 people were also with you in New York. Business people, activists, government officials, to all talk about Climate Action Week. You have been a very vocal voice in your country. You laid out very well in your speech for us today how vulnerable Nepal is. You're not an emitter, you're not a major emitter, but you stand at the crossroads of what industrialized nations have to offer in terms of the part that they really must play, particularly with things like the Loss and Damage Fund. There's been a lot of criticism, as you know, that industrialized countries led by the United States and China and 200 others have not done their part, though, to really pay into the fund and to help countries like Nepal. There's been many funds now set up to help countries like Nepal, but the money has not really started in a way that is meaningful. Is this approach working? Are we going to run out of time for the Himalayas, for mountain countries, especially with a mountain agenda of climate change? What would you say to all of our students here studying climate change, particularly for small countries that get trapped between the politics of industrialized nations on climate change? What would you like to share with our students today of what countries like Nepal need for this to really happen?
First of all, I would like to thank you very much, and I begin from the issue of climate change, climate issues. It is our legitimate demand that we are talking about who has committed mistakes, they have to correct, and to correct those things, they have to fund, they have to finance too. It is not us, because our country's size is 148,000 square kilometers, just. Our population is 30 million, just. And our forest area is 46%, nearly half. And 70% is covered by the mountains. And third, more than 7%, 9% about rivers, lakes, etc. So you can understand how much we are contributing. Knowingly we are planting the forest and we are protecting the forest and we are contributing. And naturally we are contributing through the mountains and the rivers and the lakes and everything. As I mentioned before too, that our mountains, there are mountains in so many countries, and there are problems of mountainous countries and LDCs as well. But our situation is completely different than others, because we are between the line of, as I mentioned in my speech, that between the line of Cancer and Capricorn, hottest area of the world. The sun moves to Capricorn to Cancer lines. That's the hottest area. And our mountain lies there. And when the hot air comes, goes to closer and closer to the mountains, they become, hot air becomes cooler and cooler and cooler, and they turn ice or what? When they collide with the mountains. So This is a matter of very, very important. And meters thick layer of ice our mountains are holding. And our mountains are not holding just the ice, but the rocks of the mountains, they are just taking the water and dropping slowly, and the springs and mountains come out and they become rivers. To continue rivers. And the water recharge system, it's very important. Otherwise, there will be no forest. If there are no mountains, there will be no forest. Without water, forest the land will be die and it will convert it into desert. So, the largest natural refrigerator or cooling center of the world is mountain, between the Capricorn line and line of Cancer. So, we are talking that we have done nothing harm, but we have contributed. And we are asking today to the emitters of the greenhouse gases, etc., to support the countries who has no mistake, no guilty, but they are suffering from that.